After you do it so much, you say, is that enough? And at halftime, it looked to me like, and I wrote them off, Houston off at halftime, because it looked like Golden State had reasserted itself in the second quarter and said, we are the defending champs. Watch this in our house.
Right.
It was 14 down at halftime, and I told this man to start the show, I am sitting on my bed because I'm about to get under the covers because it's over. It is 14, and I thought, well, I'll just watch the first couple of minutes just to see if they quickly extend it to 20 because I thought they would. Nope. Foot off the accelerator, and here came the Rockets on a 22-9 run. All the way up to that moment when Kevin made his first field goal in the third quarter, and it was one of those where give me the ball and get out of my way. I'm driving it to the baseline. I'm going straight up over Tuck, and I'm going to rip this. And he did, and he snarled when he ripped it. Okay, here we go. And that put them back up three. And he took one step and pushed off, and he was like, huh? Somebody kicked me? And I'm thinking, uh-oh. All of a sudden, karma came full circle, and just the way CP3 was lost in Game 5 last year, and they collapsed in Game 6 and 7, I thought the basketball gods just said, here, Houston, we will pay back Golden State. And what happened from that point on? Steph Curry happened. And he said, remember me, just the way Kevin said the other day, I'm Kevin Durant. Steph said, I'm Steph Curry. Do you remember that we won a record 73 games one year, and I was back-to-back MVPs in this league, and he took over the game from that point forward. James actually had a nice flourish at the end of the third quarter in which he scored 5 quick points, but Steph matched him basket for basket to end the quarter, so it's tied at the end of the quarter. And fourth quarter, Steph just took over. And to this man's point, he was all over James Harden to start the show, as he should have been, but it was different than James Harden. James usually goes up in flames, shooting threes that brick. And what happened, instead of him going 0 for 8 from the three-point line in the fourth quarter, he just said, no, I'm not going to do it this time. I'm going to disappear. I'm going to stay over here. Now, they were doubling him hard every time he touched the ball, but he needed a partner. He needed somebody else to step up and save him, and Chris is aging to the point where he can't do that anymore. There was a time, and especially back to his New Orleans days, he would have taken over that game, but he was not capable last night.
And this is a different style. You watching him, this isn't Chris Paul's game. Like the way they play. You know, he's a two guard essentially. And that he did it well last year. He's done it well at points. But you're not going to get the Chris Paul. Plus, you see him at times, he'll get it. They make quick decisions. A lot of times he'll get it and he wants to dribble because that's what he's used to doing his whole career.
Yeah. I am surprised that the Houston didn't win this game for the simple fact is that I thought James Harden would say, like, you know what, this is my time.
Well, it was his time.
Considering what happened in games, you remember, what was that, Game 6 against San Antonio? What happened in the closeout game against Golden State a couple years ago? We've seen him down the stretch in these meaningful games.
By the way, he set the all-time playoff record for turnovers.
And dribbled the last one off his foot with a chance to win the game.
12 or 14?
12.
One of them. 12?
Yeah. Might have been 14.
12 or 14.
Yeah, he had a bunch of them. But CP3, 3 of 14. Clint Capella, 3 of 10. Now, you remember Clint Capella, after they beat Utah, he's sitting up on the podium. I want Golden State.
He likes to talk.
I want Golden State because of how it ended for us last year. Bro, you were good and terrible all last night. And see, this is why I don't like plus minus, because he had the highest plus on anybody on the Rockets when he was out there being terrible. To Chris's point, when he says KD was a luxury, not a necessity, KD is chinchilla seat covers in a Rolls Royce. Do you really need that? Because the Rolls Royce already it's a Rolls.
But you told me Draymond went into the parking lot crying.
Yeah, he did.
Come save us.
And then he had KD crying when he called him something on the bench. But that's neither here nor there.
Was that guilt on Draymond's part?
Maybe.
Yeah,
right? You know,
but the thing is, Skip, what KD, look, they're a very good team, Chris. You made it, you're right. 73-9. But what KD did, he makes them unbeatable in a 7-game series.
I agree.
Because we know, I don't believe they're the two-time defending champ if KD's not in Golden State. I believe Cleveland beats them. I believe Cleveland beats them. And they knew that. That's why Draymond got on the horn. But James Harden, he needs a 40-point effort. James Harden's got to win Game 6. This is his legacy, because his legacy right now in meaningful playoff games, Game 5, Game 6, is not very good. He has to erase. It's never going to go away, but it'll help push it down. You know, if you do enough good things, it'll push the bad down a little further. Because right now, when you click, hey, all I see is, Game 6 against the Spurs? You did that without Kawhi? You lost by 40?
How about Game 6 and 7? Again, no CP3 last year against Golden State, but you got 6 in your house, then you, right?
Yep.
And he goes a combined 6 for 25 from 3 in those 2 games. Well, last night he did the reverse. He just wouldn't shoot it. I'm not going to do that anymore. So he and Chris Paul score 8 total points in the fourth quarter. That's not enough. While Steph and Clay turned back into free shooting Steph and Clay, and they combined for 19. So they outscored the other backcourt 19-8. And by the way, Houston had 4 fourth quarter turnovers. They weren't, James only had 1, but they had 4. Golden State had no turnovers in the fourth quarter. You don't think that's big in a close game?
Absolutely. And I think that another thing is, Chris, not to cut you off, but Steph's like, how aggressive can I be? Because I don't want to chase him off. Because the last time he played with a guy that was super aggressive, he ended up with us. So if I be me, Steph had to concede some of himself in order for KD to come.
Right.
But by the way, he conceded way more than Dwayne conceded even to LeBron.
Yeah, he did it right
he just
away.
Said, here.
You did remember the first year it was like, Steph's not the same. You know, and then when KD got hurt at the end of the season, Steph went off, and then KD came back in the playoffs. The one thing that concerns me about the Warriors is that they got used to playing with KD. As you said, it didn't look the same because they were different. I don't know if it was better or not, but it was different.
Right.
And they also got used to playing with DeMarcus. So it's a hard adjustment to all of a sudden go back to playing how they played, 3 years ago?
They still got 4 guys, though. 4 guys from that way they played before. So it's easy. Because Looney, don't even worry about Looney. We ain't got to give him we don't got to give him the ball.
But he'll do what he does.
Right.
He'll do what he does.
Right.
And everybody talks about their lack of depth. Now, that first great Warriors team that won the championship in 2015, Leandro Barbosa.
Yeah.
Festus Ezeli.
Vanderbilt University, go ahead.
Not to diss. Brandon Rush, Livingston, and he's still there. And Harrison Barnes, who we know was a starter. But those guys were playing big roles.
Yes.
So it's who like Patrick McCaw, what's happened to him?
Yeah.
Like there were guys that played good roles in Golden State and then they go elsewhere and you find out they're not that good. So I'm just saying Jonas Jerebko, who hit a couple big shots last night.
One big one early in the fourth.
You mentioned Looney, Damian Jones, I think supposed to get back. Like
Vanderbilt University. Go ahead.
they like the Vanderbilt guys.
They do.
But the only question is their core is older. Not old, older. And can Draymond and all these guys be what they were before KD got here?
Can Draymond keep it together? He got a tech that was unnecessary.
Hey, I know. He did throw that, right?
Yeah,
he did throw the leg out there.
You can pick up the charge on CP3. Why you gotta need a man on the way back?
But this time he made amends immediately because
he had a big 3. That was a huge shot.
Okay, we can give him that. And we are still waiting on those MRI results. Hopefully we'll hear something today. Game 6 tomorrow in Houston, so not a big turnaround. Somehow the Lakers just keep being relevant because they keep doing weird things. They still don't have a coach. So what does that mean for LeBron's future? We'll discuss that next.